Hello everybody and good morning. Welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. And we are just going to give everybody a few minutes to jump on. We are early this morning. Yep, got it.
This is cool. This is one from a friend, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, these are
barbells,
my favorite cups.
which we haven't seen any of.
Yeah. So we're going to give everybody a few minutes. We are early today and get a chance to send out all these invites.
Because I shake the screen when I do it.
Yep.
So how is everybody? If you can, write in where you're joining us from. If you're in Indianapolis, are you out of state? It's May, so I know a lot of things are starting to open back up, which is very cool. Just got a message from a friend in Puerto Rico. They are going to let everybody start coming out. But there's still, some restrictions, which makes sense, protect the people. But it is happening. So I'm sending out all these invites. So when you actually go on Facebook Live, there's a button at the bottom you can press and then throw out invites. People ask us, hey, can you remind me? It has no order to it. It's like, it just is random how they bring people up. I think it has to do with like how many people have seen your stuff and how many people you've interacted with. That's what I've noticed. But every once in a while, it's like, I talk to this person all the time and they're at the very bottom of the list. It pulls your entire, however many people you have that you've connected to. It pulls them all up, but it's just a random order. And there is no all send, because if we had that, that would be much easier. Yeah, you literally have to invite each person one-on-one, which takes forever. But Kevin Mack, what's up, sir? And Michael Cabradilla, I know that guy. Shannon Goldsberry. Finaldi. All these cool people. Johnette Grant. Mr. Rashkin, what's up, sir? Mr. Richardson. Bunch of cool people here. All right, where are we?
There we go.
Johnette's here. Hello. Michael Shaw, what's going on? So we're going to get started here in just a second. Shamala is here from the other side of the world. Literally, what time is it there? Is what I'm wondering. I don't get up early, ever, so. Eric Bright sent you a friend request. Awesome. So.
All right. So, we're going to kick off this chapter, which is chapter 10 of Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardon. So, building an obsessed team. So you want people on your team who will do anything to see your business succeed and jump off a building for you, run through walls for you, and believe they can fly because of you. So if you don't have anyone that's like that working with you, shame on you. So you can't grow a business without surrounding yourself with people who have that kind of commitment. So, because whenever you're trying to strive for something that you've never accomplished before, it's good to have that structure of the people that are going to be there to help you every step of the way. Even if it's just to support you, to be like, hey, you know what? It's okay. You're going to do a great job. Just go ahead and go do it. But we're talking about the people that are working directly with us. Let's see, Shamala.
Jessica, how are you? It's approaching 17. Okay, so it's like
Yes.
from Milwaukee. Awesome.
Milwaukee. So, get beyond the one-man show. So, great organizations are never one-man operations. There's only so much time in the day that you have to actually do, and there's so much stuff that you could do by yourself. There's only so much time in the day. And I like this quote by John Rockefeller: I'd rather earn 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. This is actually a really big mistake that a lot of small business owners have. They're like, you know what? Nobody else can do it better than me, so I'm just going to do it myself. Or they can't do it as good as I can, so I'm not going to let anybody else do it. That's a big mistake. the key is so you have to go through enough people to find that one person who's going to be able to take over that role. Or you have to find somebody who's willing to learn, and then you train that person for that position. And this goes for network marketing. You have to go through so many people to be able to find that one really good person, and then you train them for what you would like them to do or what they want to do. And then eventually you find that person who could replace you, and then you can move on to the next person. So yes, hiring is worth it, and even in a culture of average. Excuse me. So great employees are vital to your survival. Anyone who gives up on people is guaranteed not to have much of a business. But hiring anyone, much less attracting and retaining great people, is a huge problem today. Most companies are throwing in the towel and looking for computers to replace the workers because they are recruiting from a culture of average. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't great people out there. It just takes a while to find them, because we own a traditional business as well as being in network marketing, and we go through this with 317 Holistic Health. It usually takes 10 to 15 people to find one really good person who's going to stick. And it's just the standard for what's expected of people in the workplace is so low now. Just simple things of showing up on time, dressing right for your interview, replying, and just those little things. And you would think that they would be common sense, and if somebody really wants the job, they'll do it, but it's just the standard of what is acceptable in the workplace now is so low, it's really hard to find the people. However, when you do find them, you want to treat them well. So, and we have a training process at 317. We usually set up a phone interview, then we'll set up a face-to-face interview, give them a tour of the studio, let them know more of how the training works. Once we get through that and they want to get started, we go through training, and then they start on their own. And sometimes they don't make it past the phone interview. They'll say, oh yeah, this is great, I'm going to come in, and then they don't show up. Or they show up 30 minutes late, and they're like, okay, I'm here. And I'm like, okay, but you were supposed to be here like 30 minutes ago. Like, what happened? Granted, sometimes we do have weird traffic here. Indiana is known for shutting down roads that you didn't think were going to be closed, and then they do. So sometimes there's a little leeway, but other times it's kind of like, okay, like I didn't even get a text message from you, so that's not going to work. Because we do work a business where you have to be on time. Or we have angry clients, so that doesn't work. Some people do not show up to their training. We had somebody at one point, they didn't message us till that evening. They were supposed to be here at 1 o'clock. Didn't message us until probably like 8 or 9 o'clock, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I lost my phone. I'm like, you lost your phone? Okay, but you still knew how to get here. Why weren't you here? So there's a lot of excuses that go into the business world these days, and this happens. And the reason I'm telling you this is it happens in traditional business as well as network marketing. You're going to have people that you're going to get on the phone, they're going to be a great fit, and then you'll move on to the next step for a face-to-face. Yeah, so that way you could talk to them and draw out how our compensation plan works, and they don't show up to that. Or when we go to the larger trainings, or if we're going to go sign up, then all of a sudden, crickets. It just happens. The biggest thing when you're dealing with these people is don't try to figure out why people do what they do, because you'll just drive yourself insane. The best thing that you could do when you're dealing with people is, if they don't show up, just be like, okay, no problem. We're just going to move on to the next one, and be positive about it, because there's no point of dwelling like, now you can still reflect, be like, how could I make this situation better for the next time? Was this an issue with me, or was this an issue with the person? So you got to reflect a little bit on that, but if you are not the issue, and they just didn't show up, just move on to the next person. Send a message, be like, hey, hope you're doing good. I just wanted to check up on you. but we're going to go ahead and move on to the next person. So stop whining about payroll. People don't cost money. Not growing your business costs money. So every new hire should bring more money. And if they do not, you don't have to have the right crew or not managing them correctly. So the nice thing with MLM is if somebody has absolutely no desire to really produce at the moment, it really doesn't hurt you. Now, in our holistic health business, we do have to have a standard of, look, guys, this is at a minimum of what you need to produce, even if it's a bad month. Like, this is what is expected of you, and if you cannot produce this, then we find somebody else. So in MLM, we really don't have network marketing. You don't have to really do that with people. It's just, look, if now is not the right time, that's totally fine. Sit back, you at least have your position, so you're set up, but when you are ready, let me know, and then we will work together. So that is pretty much what I got for this part of the chapter. So Jeff, I left off at how to find the best.
So here's what I got out of this chapter. This was about building a team. So, for what we're doing, network marketing, direct sales, if you're in affiliate marketing, especially now, building a team is more important than ever. It says, Larry spends most of his time recruiting all-in great people who could become extensions of his own all-in business mentality. He searches for hungry people who have an inner drive to show up early and stay late. Ask any great business person how they built their business, and somewhere in their answer, they're going to give credit to somebody else. We were able to hit a new level, and the very first thing I thought is, I was like, this really wasn't us. I mean, yes, we worked, but it was really the effort of many, many other people that, allowed us to move up. And that's the only way you really move up in any company. So we have a traditional business, and we're in direct sales and network marketing. So the people who are like, well, you don't understand. You just don't understand. Well, most of the time, it's the opposite. We do understand, but we're still learning. I mean, this stuff. I constantly learn. There was a bunch of notes in this one. So to be the best, you must surround yourself with the best. You can't grow your business without hiring people who share the same obsession. So here's what I found. The obsession of, do they like the industry or do they want to succeed? There's 4 different personalities. Grant has the same personality that I do, based on reading. He's an extreme of an extreme, but it's only about 3% of the population has that mentality. So, he's going to offend a lot of people. There's a lot of people who don't necessarily like him. But what I found is a high D type personality will attract high S's. Why? Because that's the missing quality. That's one of the missing qualities. High D's usually like S's to a point. Why? Because it's a missing ingredient in their personality. So opposites attract and then opposites attack is what I've learned from personality training. It says you want people on your team who will do anything, jump off buildings, run through walls, and believe they can fly because of you. So, no, not doing the wrong things, but they believe they can succeed because they're on your team. They believe they can succeed because of what you've taught them and what you're able to do. It says, get beyond the one-man show. There's 22 million small businesses. There's 22 million small businesses. Obviously, a lot of them are in trouble right now, right? So people need help. Forbes suggests that 75% of all of those businesses operated by one person. 75% of 20 million. So what's 75% of 20 million? That's like 7 and 7, 14, about 15 million. So 15 million of the 22 million are what? Are one-man operated shows. So the average income of those type of businesses is $44,000 a year. So this goes back to the old phrase. Now, $44,000 a year is probably what their net income is, meaning after all expenses. At least I think he didn't go into detail, but I would guess that's what it is, because he says that's really not a lot of money. If $44 was the gross income of the business, that's really horrible, because then you're going to detract and subtract all of the expenses and things from there. Limiting thoughts, keeping it small, keeping low expenses. So the average person, that's what they think of when they're in business. Oh my gosh, I don't want to expand too far. I have to keep things small so I can keep my thumb on them. I got to keep expenses super low, because we can't spending money right now. I was just thinking last night, I was like, where's the best place to put money right now? I was like, it's in expansion. I was like, we need to advertise. I need more leads for what I'm doing. So that's where my money's going to go. It's going to go to some of my Facebook ads to basically target exactly who I'm looking for, to bring more leads, to find more great people. Because we found a ton of great people. Over 327 applications, lead applications, just in the last 60 days. So I can only imagine now that it's compounded all these problems that, existed before the shutdown. Now all of them have compounded for 60 days. It's really, really going to get good. A lot of people are going to be looking, which is a good thing that people are looking, not a good thing why they're looking. That's how I feel. Bigger isn't always better is something that people will say with limiting beliefs. The reality is you cannot have a great business if it's just you. If it's just you, you can't have a great business. Just like in direct sales and network marketing, it's very rare that somebody hits really big by themselves. The whole idea behind direct sales and network marketing is I do a little bit, I teach somebody else to do a little bit. I buy a few products, I sell a few products. I share that with somebody else, they buy a few products, they sell a few products. I don't get the majority, I get a piece of whatever I build. Anyone who gives up on people is guaranteed not to have much success. So great employees or great team members are vital to your success. Because he's talking about employees, we're talking about team. You're going to need to look through a lot of garbage to find the people you want to work with. And Brandy kind of went into that. And it doesn't matter. People think, oh my gosh, it'd be so much easier if it was a normal business. No, it wouldn't.
No, actually, it's worse.
Yeah.
Because in a normal business, if these people don't perform, it actually hurts the business. If they don't perform in network marketing, they're just there to hold a position and be your greatest cheerleader.
So stop whining about payroll. People don't cost money. Not growing your business costs money. And that's true because, if you have, let's face it, if you have 5 open seats in a traditional business, and you've only hired 4 people, but you have 4 great people, but you won't hire the 5th, the 5th seat is costing you money because nobody's there. What if the 5th seat is the top producer of the entire group? And we've experienced this with bringing people in and bringing people out. There's only so many, rooms for what we do in our traditional business. And we've, had people come, had people go. We've had great producers, but it wasn't until about last September that we were able to bring somebody on who actually blew all the numbers away. They passed everybody. So I realized what that one empty spot was actually costing us more than the entire group of people. So you're looking for that one person who can outproduce everybody else in activity first. So in direct sales, it's all about activity, and we'll talk about that. Every new hire should bring you more money, and if they do not, they're not the right person for the team. Now that's in business. But you want every person inside of direct sales. What you're looking for is the people who produce. The problem is in the beginning, you're not going to find producers. Unless you're a producer, you're not going to find producers. John C. Maxwell, I know this is about Grant Cardon, but John C. Maxwell talks about the 5 levels of leadership. Level number 1 is something called position. You get a position. That doesn't guarantee they're going to produce. Just like in direct sales, when you recruit somebody, they have a position on the team. It doesn't mean they're going to play. It doesn't mean they're going to play. And it doesn't mean you could force them to play because they didn't sign up for you. They signed up for them. And you have to find out, is this person going to participate or not? How do you do that? Well, you can basically say, hey, are you ready to get started? And you can run through. But if they don't move forward, you have to move forward, right? Kyle McDonald, what's up, sir? So you have to move on. And here's the thing. You don't leave people. You just don't work with that person. The time spent now goes to somebody else. You have to go through a lot of people to find the good ones. Develop a reputation that is a place people want to work. So you have to develop a reputation of a place and or a team that people want to work on, where people are going to succeed and they get help. I was on the phone till a little after midnight last night with a friend of mine out of Wisconsin. The reason we were on the phone is she's like, look, you've been my friend regardless of what company I've been in. You've been my friend regardless of, whether I was doing something or not. And I see you helping people, and that's the reason why I'd want to work with you or get in the business you're in, is because I would get to work with you, not necessarily get to work in the business. And there was a saying a long time ago that I learned: it's better to be in business with the right people in the wrong company than it is to be in the right company with the wrong people. And the saying goes, to kind of put it simply, is if you're in the right company but with the wrong people will screw up the best opportunity. But if you're in the wrong company with the right people, they will find a way to win regardless. And it'll attract more people. And I've found that to be true over and over and over again. So always be hiring. Just like in network marketing, direct sales, always be recruiting. Always. It's the day that you're kind of like, oh, I'm not really, and this is why they say dress for success. This is why they say keep a positive attitude. Because it'll be the day you're out where you didn't dress right, and I've done this before. You go to the store and you strike up a conversation, now 6 feet away, but you strike up a conversation with somebody, and that's the person. You can just tell. That's the person you've been looking for, and this was the day you dressed down. This was the day you didn't wear what you're supposed to wear. This is the day you didn't, do your hair, do your makeup, you didn't, put the right deodorant on, whatever. You forgot to brush your teeth. I don't know. Those things you want to do all the time. You have to get into a mentality, I'm recruiting all the time, I'm hiring all the time, and that's what Grant says. You got to show up ready. Tashina. Okay, so you have every online outlet available for letting the world know you're hiring. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, help me, Craigslist. Facebook Marketplace has a job section. You can't use that if you're in direct sales. Well, you can use it, but you're not supposed to. What other platforms are there? TikTok,
Instagram now has hiring ads now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Pretty much every platform you can hire off of. So.
But you always want to be looking for great people. It says Grant Cardon says, expanding again, and yes, we're hiring. Use all methods to market. Use all methods. So here's the thing. In direct sales and network marketing, if you don't know these different platforms, you don't go after all of them. Just like in real estate. If you don't know all the platforms, don't go after all of them. First of all, get some basic knowledge and how to market. Because there's things you can say and things you can't. I see constantly people putting crap up, especially in the real estate business, that is blatant against the law, against the rules. I'm not here to point fingers and call people out. That's like, I don't have time to do that crap. But there's a lot of stuff out there that you can't be doing. That people do all the time. Okay, so get your people to tell their family and friends about what's going on. So that's kind of my whole philosophy, is educate everybody. Educate everybody on what you do. Hey, and this is the contact that we actually teach inside the school on Sunday night. For those of you who don't know, the MLM Millionaire Academy, which was developed originally by Bess. Bess was actually the founder of it. And I came along and helped out with some of the curriculum of what to teach. But we teach this one contact, and this is how our conversation actually started. It was all about getting in front of people. And if you can't get in front of people, I don't care what business you're in. Jessica's here. It could be yoga. Francis is here. It could be real estate. I don't care what business it is. You have to get what you do in front of more people all the time. How do you do that in a way that you're marketing to them without trying to hard sell them? How do you do that? This is just something that I developed over time. It actually came from a real estate agent, and I kind of changed it so that way it works for everybody. And it's very simple. It's like the most simple contact in the world. Hey, can you do me a favor? Hey, can you do me a favor? I would like to tell you about what I'm working on, so if you run into the right person, you can refer them to us. Now, if this was real estate, I would say, and let's say, I'm going to use Frances as an example because she's in the building business. Hey, I wanted to tell you about who I work for now because, there's so many people out there. There's a lot of people you just haven't connected with. If you called 5 realtors a day and say, hey, I just want to connect real quick. This may not be your market, but, I'm Frances. I work for Davis Homes on the new side, new construction side. Real quick, I just wanted a huge favor. I just want to tell you about what we're doing and the locations we're at. So if you ever come across a person who would be a good fit, you could refer them out our way. Are you familiar with our product line? And then you can kind of go into, if you get permission, that's what you're looking for. If you get permission to give them an overview, then have an overview ready. And now you can give an overview. Andrew, what's up, sir? How are things halfway across the world? Hopefully good. Probably as locked down as we are. So, Get people telling their friends and family. Get the word out everywhere you can at all time. So do me a favor. I want to share with you what I'm doing. So if you run into the right person, you can refer them to us. Look at more resumes than seem reasonable. So it means you got to look through more people when you're showing homes or selling homes, when you're building any type of business. You have to go through more people than what seems reasonable. And here's the thing. It's just because when you're out normally looking for a car, or you're out normally looking to buy something, you don't really go everywhere, right? You shop in a couple stores and it's like, okay, this will work. But when you're looking for people, you got to go through a lot more. And it says we looked through 800 resumes to hire 4 people, and we were wrong on 2 of them. Now, Grant's hired people like his whole life. So, not his whole life, but for years, he's hired people. So he still gets it wrong, was his point. Your brand is your baby, and you need to guard against basically letting doubters who aren't really contributing anything add to what you're doing. You need to get the people who are kind of talking down about it out of the picture. Know what you're looking for. So this is what we call your avatar. Know what you're looking for. What is your avatar? My ideal person in direct sales or network marketing is 25 to 45. Ideal person, 25 to 45. That's the age range. Second thing is they have an income. Most of the time I want them to have a career income. That would be better. But an income would be good. So that's the first question I'm asking everybody when I'm talking to them. Are you working now? Do you have income coming in now from anywhere? If they don't, then I'm done working on recruiting them. What I'm doing next is, well, what are your qualifications? Maybe I can help you find something full-time, because what I do in direct sales, what I do for my company, it's best if you have a full-time income and then do this part-time. I'm telling the same thing to all the real estate agents that I'm talking about bringing on. I'm like, look, real estate's an interesting career. I mean, there are people who can sell right away, but the average person, it takes 90 days to 6 months to close your first deal. So I always suggest having a full-time job, paying your bills with that. You're not really going to get ahead. You're not going to get anywhere doing that. But then do this on the side. That's just the philosophy I've had. And we found better people. And I've found it's easier to work with them because they're not struggling to close the next deal. They're not worried. They're not sitting in your office twiddling their thumb, kind of excuses and drama and all the other stuff. Oh my God, what happens if it doesn't close? Because if you have a job that pays all your bills and you're just closing to close, now you can focus more on the client because you're not worried if this deal closes or doesn't. Am I going to feed my family? So it's great at part-time in the beginning until you build up enough and there's parameters to build up enough. Same thing is true in direct sales. Too many people go full-time too fast. Too many people go full-time too fast. They have their best month ever in direct sales and they're like, that's it, I'm quitting my job. But that was your best month for the whole year. Now it's going to go back down, and then it goes up, and then it goes down, because it's a business. Business income is a wave where, even if your job income is like flat, at least you know what it is. That's what pays your bills. The income that does this, you need to take that money and put it somewhere else, and we'll talk about that in another show. Speed of movement. How fast are you going through the people? Willingness to die for the cause, meaning are you really all in? Possession of a book or business, a book of business. Customers that already have. So he's talking about qualities that he wants to find in people. Loyalty, if they already have a book of business, if they're willing to make a move. Questions to ask when interviewing. Have they hit their targets repeatedly? Are they involved with their families? Do they have reasons why they're there? Or it's like, well, it's just a job. So I asked the question. I said, well, are you looking for more of a career or a job? That's one of the questions I have when I pre-qualify people. What are you really looking for? Are you looking for more of a career or a job? If somebody says, well, really, I'm just looking for a job. I just need money. That's usually not the best person, usually. Did they show up early? Did they show up on time? Did they show up late? Blah, 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 blah. Looking for people who are motivated beyond money. So this talks about the mission. It says hire people who want to make money but make a difference, not just people who have bills to pay. If you just have people who have bills to pay and they get any better offer, they're going to go somewhere else. What are they working for? What are they doing? People who have minuscule financial goals are constantly faced with living problems like, Sean, how are you? So the same thing is true when you're recruiting. When you're hiring people and they don't have goals and they don't have dreams and they don't have more to work for and they're just there to pay their bills, every single person that we brought on on our traditional business that was just here to pay bills is gone. It's gone. Because it wasn't, they weren't working towards anything. Everybody who had goals and dreams, who wanted to travel, who wanted freedom, who wanted nice things, who wanted, the ability to go do things, the people who had goals and dreams, they're all here making more money than they would anywhere else. So if I take care of someone's problems, they will never learn to take care of their own if I take care of them. So this is something I learned from one of my coaches. And he basically said, your objective isn't to solve problems for people, it's to get them to figure stuff out themselves. You want them to bring you stuff to kind of talk through it, so that way at least you know what's going on. But then the question is, well, what do you think you should do? Okay, if it's not the right answer, because he said sometimes, what do you think you should do? And they give you an answer that you know is wrong, that's not going to work. A good question to ask, well, is there anything else that would work? And get them to think and come up with 3 or 4 or 5 solutions, and then say, well, which one out of these 4 or 5 solutions that you've told me about are the best way to do it, and then see if they'll go do it. Most of coaching has nothing to do with you talking. So a lot of people want to be professional coaches. And for those of you who don't know what professional coaching is not you telling people anything, really. It's basically a line of questioning that you're asking the person to get them to self-discover what they need to do. So just for future thought, that's what great coaches do. Great coaches just ask the better questions. And back to Tony Robbins that I said yesterday, is the quality of your life is the quality of the questions you ask yourself on a regular basis. The reason why most people's lives aren't where they need to be is because people aren't asking good questions. Why am I here? Why does this always happen to me? Why am I at the refrigerator again? Those kind of things. The entrepreneurial employee will always focus on the opportunity, not just about the money. People who are into immediate gratification, promises of advancement, bonuses based on tenure, meaning you've just been there long enough. Hi, Lori. Bonuses based on tenure and more concerned about time off than what they can contribute will never work out. Those people never work out. So your job is not to take care of other people's confusion. Your job is to keep people's confusion out of your organization. You need to keep them focused on the main thing. Hire surprising people. Chase the talent and persist till they're yours, is what he talks about. A note on staffing agencies, he says roll with the turnover. There's going to be turnover. In 2012, it showed that the average employee stays with the company 4.4 years. That's been about true with us, too.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking at this and I was like, wow, that's true. There's very few people who will stay at anything for over 5 years. Very few. I mean, think about it. Whether it's a marriage, a relationship, in a house, people just they get bored and they're like, I want variety and I got to change something. And the number one reason why people do that is because they don't have goals and dreams. That's why they change. They change their environment, they change their setting, because the first basic human need of all people is safety and security and kind of knowing that there is uniformity. It's called certainty. They have to know that there's certainty. So they get a job, they get a house, and then they want to ride that status quo out forever. The problem is the second human need outside of certainty, the second human need is uncertainty. That's why we're all nuts, right? If you wonder why you're crazy, this human psychology is why we're all nuts. Certainty is the first thing we look for. But think about it. If you're certain for too long, if you know everything is coming, and it's always the same, you know what you do? You're like, I need to change things up. I need to self-sabotage. And that's what most people do. They'll self-sabotage. You either self-sabotage, which would lead you downward, or you set goals to make it interesting, to create that uncertainty. Because when you set a goal and you're like, I don't know if I can hit this next income level. I don't know if I could upgrade my house. I don't know if I could do better in my relationship, or whatever the goal you're setting is. Once you do that, there's uncertainty again. So the people who succeed positively, and you can teach this to yourself first, and then you can teach it to others, is do you have goals? Are you working towards something? The people who have goals and are working towards something usually are more positive. Because if you don't set goals, what you do is you create drama, and what you talk about is why you always end up in these crappy situations. Look back and have conversations. I mean, the first one to look at is you, but then you can kind of look around at all the people who bring you stuff, and you'll realize really quick that's what's going on. A new study shows millennials will only stay at a career for 2 years, and baby boomers will stay at a career for 7 years. Why is that? Well, it's really just the pace of change, right? If you grew up in the baby boomer generation, the pace of change, although there was a lot of it, is slower. The pace of change was slower. Like the transition from radio to TV, not with baby boomers, but I'm just talking about media, right? So some people are like, I was around before. The transition from radio to TV took a while. And then from black and white TV to color TV took a while. And then from television to the point where we had personal computers took a while. Once we had personal computers, although it replicated fast, it took a while to get to, you know, the internet platform, you know, the online internet platform. There were computers, and some of them were connected, I know, but I'm not, like the internet me and you know of that we're talking on now, you know, came out, I know, whenever, but like 1994, the World Wide Web came out. It was 93 or 94, mid-90s it came out. Once it came out, it took a while, right? I mean, by 2000, there were thousands and, oh, actually, there were millions and millions of websites. And this is scary to say, but think about it. The millennial generation were born in that 90s period up until 2000. So I think it's 18 to 29, so that's when they were born during that time frame. Think about the changes that have happened just in that short time frame, comparatively to black and white TV to color TV to computers to, I mean, the advancement is so rapid that they're just used to. I mean, think about all the people who grew up who already had one of these phones. It's funny, if you talk to a baby boomer and you're like, how long have you had your phone? They're like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. A baby boomer will keep their phone, think about this, and I've got friends who are on here who I know are laughing. You kept your phone until it didn't work anymore. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm kind of part of that mentality or generation for some reason, because I just keep my phone. I was like, it still works. I will at least go look into all the programs and things I can do to keep it running at the same speed. Like I'll shut stuff off and turn this off and not subscribe to that, and I won't have as many apps, and I won't have all the tracking, and I'll turn off all the notifications so my phone will run and my battery will stay. But a baby boomer will keep that phone until that phone dies or doesn't work on the platform anymore. The millennial generation will have that phone until the newest one comes out, and they'll be like, yeah, this is garbage, let's get a new one. And that's why they always have the newest stuff. Now, in business, sometimes the millennial idea works because you want to be with the newest platform and you want the stuff to work right immediately, you know, at the top level, because you want to be seen in the industry as cutting edge. If you're always using the oldest crap and you're just trying to force it and jumble it and tape it and stick it together to make it work, how are you viewed by the new people or the younger people? How are you viewed by the younger people who are coming in who see innovation and technology like, why aren't you using this? Why aren't you involved? So like TikTok, I got on to find out what it is just so I could know what it is, because that's what's cutting edge. That's what's going on. By the way, Gary Vaynerchuk says, if you really want to know, he goes, this is how he invests. This is how he basically has his thumbprint every single morning. He basically opens up his phone and he goes into apps and he looks at what's trending. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you are behind the times already. What's trending? What are the top 100 downloaded apps right now? Most of you couldn't tell me the top 25. Most of you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about to begin with, but most of you couldn't tell me the top 25, even if you kind of know. But you keep a pulse on what's trending. What's in the 150 to 100 that's moving up the chart. If you look at it every day, you can start seeing these changes and you know what to go look at. Now, there's only so much time, right? So you kind of have to gauge, if you do this on a regular basis, you kind of have to gauge, how much time am I spending on this? This is not necessarily the most profitable thing, but it's a cutting edge thing if you want to be known and followed in an industry. Interesting stuff, for sure. So we've gone a little bit long, but this is really good. Hopefully, if you guys have to go, no problem. But I'm just going to finish up. It means we are not selling and won't be held hostage to average. I know companies that brag about low turnover, but it takes courage to get rid of people who no longer belong. And that's one of the hardest things. Like, it took us a while. There was a couple people who weren't producing. There was a couple people who were a consistent pain in the, and it took forever because I know the cost of finding somebody new. But sometimes the cost of finding somebody new, like, you won't go find somebody new until you open up the spot. So it took me, a while to figure that out. It's tough. You will not wreck your business by losing people, but you will wreck your business by keeping them. Oh, that was good. And here's the thing. In network marketing, direct sales, you won't wreck your business by working with somebody, but you will wreck your business with working with somebody and not going out and recruiting anybody new. Every time. Because what are you teaching that person to do? You're not recruiting, they're not recruiting. So you need to be obsessed with finding unbelievable people, and you need to borrow, spend. He says you need to do whatever it takes ethically to find those people. Reward performance. I don't hire people to do their jobs. I hire people to grow the company. So he says, look, if your job is to send out 5 emails every day, it would be more than that. But he goes, if your job is to send out 5 emails every day and you just send out 5 emails, that's what I paid you to do. I'm not paying you a bonus on that. But if you send out 10 consistently and you got us a new account, well, now we can talk about a bonus because you did more. You did more. So the normal job situation is, well, they're only paying me for this, so I'm going to do as little as possible. That's the mentality of most of America. That's how most people apply everything to their job. Well, they only paid me to do this, so I'm only doing so much. And then I'm going home. I'm going to clock out early. I'm going to find out how to steal some time because they're not paying me enough. Why didn't I get a bonus? Why didn't I get a promotion? Because you don't deserve it. Just hanging out long enough doesn't make you more valuable. I pay a bonus to those who get the company a bonus. Don't just hire, build culture. What is culture? What do you want your company to look like? What do you want your company to sound like? I demand order and expect that from other people. It says I work hard and I expect that from other people. I work fast and make decisions and I expect that from other people. I mean, he's in the real estate business. You have to make decisions and you have to make them now. The average person makes a decision very, 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 very slow and then changes their mind all the time. Unsuccessful people do that. Successful people, you'll find, because they already know what their value system is, they see something and they're like, I will make a decision, and then they commit permanently to it. And they're like, I'm going to find a way to make this work. It's going to be hard. I'm going to have ups and downs. You can always tell what's really on the inside of a person because as soon as they run into stuff that's hard, they're out. Oh, this is hard now. This is hard. This is difficult. Now I have to actually work. I'm out. I'll jump to the next shiny, new, fast thing. They have no commitment. Now, they'll talk about commitment. They'll love the books on commitment. But if you look at their actions, and watch this, in everything they do, history shows. So that's one of the things I always ask. Well, what else have you done? 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 I know it's coming before they know it's coming. I dress in a certain way at work and I expect others to dress for success. I'm constantly reinforcing the culture I want. Start every day with a meeting, talking about your business and objective. Jordan Belfort, who, is questionable, all the stuff that he's done. But one thing that he did do well is he said every single day when he started a sales meeting, with this. He goes, I want everybody to say yes, yes. And then they would kind of shout it. It's kind of a weird thing. In the movie, they kind of did the rah-rah and beat their chest, and he goes, that was not part of our culture or what we did. That was something actually that Leonardo DiCaprio kind of came up with Matthew McConaughey. They kind of came up with that section of the movie if you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street. If you haven't seen The Wolf of Wall Street, don't go out and rent The Wolf of Wall Street or watch it right now because I will just put the disclaimer. It has all kinds of stuff you probably don't want to see, but the one thing that I caught out of the interviews after and reading his book was every single day he started out with yes. Why did he get his salespeople to get on this focus of yes? He goes, that's what you're looking for. Yes, I want to do business with you. Yes, I want to get started. Yes, I'm ready to go. Yes, I have goals. He goes, you want to get in the habit of thinking yes and saying yes, because that's what you're going to push out into the marketplace, and that's what you're going to attract back. It's really good. So with that
is what we have for today. So we will be back on Monday with chapter 11. And if we're taking notes on each chapter of the book that we are going through, if you guys would like those notes, I will be putting a link in the comments below, so that way you can subscribe and we can email you those notes. Also, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to upload all these videos to YouTube, so that way you can follow along with us. Or if there's a book that you would like to go back to, you can do that. So with that, that is it for today, and we will see you Monday.